Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad, we have such a nice crowd joining us today. Welcome to our fourth webinar. I can't believe we are in week 4 now. So our theme for this week has been creating assessments. So my name is Mbali. I am joined by my colleagues, my Getza, Lungelo. He mentioned he's not able to switch on his camera. He's having a bit of an issue there. I think Nomfundo is also here with us. Yeah, so if you have any, I think you are familiar with all of us, especially if you've been joining since the beginning of the campaign. So we are the team who is supporting everyone, not just those in this call, but other schools as well. So I will be running the session for today. I'm going to switch off my camera just to make sure that, we have a seamless webinar presentation. So I will switch off my camera and then I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I just want to. All right, please let me know that you can see my screen, which is on the presentation.
Yes, we can, Bali.
Okay, great. So welcome to week 4. So this week we have been focusing on creating assessments. That has been our theme for this week. As I mentioned, my name is Mbali, and I'll be presenting this session today. So again, we'll just go through housekeeping. The duration of this session is about 45 minutes. When you do join, please switch off your mic, but it's nice to see your face. So if you can switch on your face and just, your video and just say hello, that would be great, and then switch it off. Again, your participation and engagement is always appreciated and is encouraged. So when you do want to ask a question, you're welcome to raise your hand. And then we will give you an opportunity to ask your question or to speak. You're also welcome to make use of the chat function. So you can pop in a question if you have one. My Getza, Lungelo, or Nomfundo can respond to that as well. And then we will give some time, a Q&A time will be given at the end of the session. Just a reminder about the 0 rating of the platform. Now and then we always do get some messages from teachers saying that learners are complaining about the 0 rating, that it's not 0 rated, but the platform is 0 rated on MTN, Vodacom, as well as Telkom. The one thing we do want to remind teachers about, to especially remind their learners about, in that to access the 0 rating, learners have to make sure that once they've opened up their browser and they've switched on their mobile data, they need to type in the entire web address for Siyavula. So starting from HTTPS, and then our 2 forward slashes www.siyavula.com. So they have to type in the entire web address. Once they click enter, search, or go, they will then land up on the Siyavula website. So it's really important to remind them for them to access the 0 rating, they need to type in the entire web address. And also, learners should make sure that they switch or they close the background apps that are running on their device, because those are the ones that eat up their data. Okay, now to access the website, as I've mentioned, the web address, it's siyavula.com, or you are able to download our app from the Google Play Store. But you can access the platform from a desktop, a tablet, a cell phone, any internet-enabled device. Okay, so looking at our teaching cycle, this week we are at number 4. So we are going to be learning about just setting assessments, to check your learners' understanding as well as their knowledge of everything that you have taught and that you've asked them to practice so far. Okay, but before we get into that, we'll just do a recap of our themes for the campaign, just to see how each theme creates a layer for the next one. So our first theme was our new navigation and the learner registration. So in terms of the new navigation, we just wanted to make sure that everyone was familiar with the updates. So where to find the reports, that you understand what the updated name means, and just how to navigate yourself on the platform, from having an overview button to now having admin and then being able to manage your classes from there. And then the second part of the theme was looking at our learner registration. So here, our goal for that week was to try and push you to get 85% or more of your learners registered and linked into individual classes. So for those on an Explorer plan, it was to make sure that you are getting 85% or more of your learners registered and correctly linked into, the grade classes. And those on a premium plan it was to not only have learners registered, but also make sure that they are correctly linked into their individual classes. Now, the importance of having most, if not all of your learners correctly registered and linked into classes is that when you start engaging them on the Siyavula platform, as a teacher, you have peace of mind to know that when you're engaging them, most of your learners, if not all of them, are on the platform. So you don't need to worry about who's not receiving any work or who's unfamiliar with the platform. So when you now start moving into using Siyavula into your lessons, in your lessons, which was our theme in week 2, which was looking at revision and the actual lesson. When you start engaging your learners on Siyavula and you start integrating it into your lessons, then all your learners are able to understand exactly, where you're moving, how to use the platform, and so on. So the second theme was just our revision and the lesson. So here we saw that Maiketa had a webinar for us, and he just showed us how to use the various use cases and how to integrate those into our lessons. So he showed us examples, for example, how to browse the question bank, and then how to assign questions using the Siyavula ID. And then also in the revision component, he showed us how to make use of our revision chapters in all our topics. And then now that you've started integrating Siyavula into your lessons and you're using it, to revise some of the topics that you might be introducing, that you might be teaching in your lesson. Moving on to that now. So you've taught the work. Now you want your learners to start practicing and start consolidating the content that you have worked, that you have taught them. So in theme 3, week 3, which was last week, Lungelo was taking us through learner practice for consolidation. So at this point, you've taught all the work in your lesson or the work on your topic or on that chapter, and now you are wanting to have learners consolidate that content. So last week in the webinar, Lungelo just showed us how to help learners practice to improve their mastery. So he had made reference to our tracking sheets. So on our mastery tracking sheets, you would have seen that each topic has a practice code on it. So he showed us how learners can, once a topic has been taught in the lesson, they can now go and consolidate that topic by practicing. So they are then able to log into their accounts and then they can type in the code for that specific topic that they would want to practice. So learners are now practicing to consolidate the work that they have been taught. Now, as a teacher, you are at the point where you would like to, okay, let's go back. Sorry about that. So now as a teacher, you're at the point where now you want to try and assess, um, the work that you have taught and your learners have been practicing. So we're now finding ourselves in week 4, which is creating our assessments. So the aim of this week's theme is really to guide you on how you can create various assessments to assess your learners' knowledge and understanding of the content that you've already taught and that your learners are practicing. Okay, before we jump into how you can create these assessments, I just want us to go through the general types of assessments that are out there. So I know as teachers, I know that you know all of this, and this is in no way to insult your experience in your field as well as your intellect. So we have our 3 types of assessment. So we have our diagnostic, formative, and summative assessments. So with our diagnostic assessments, these are really to find out what our learners know and what they don't know. So for example, an example of this type of assessment, if we're going to be linking it into, the themes we've already covered. So one thing that a lot of our schools have been doing is making use of our baseline assessments, but also as a teacher, something that you can also use, especially in your lessons, and this was shown in theme 2, is just when you are revising work that you've taught and you're now wanting to introduce a new topic, this is where you can try and find out how much your learners know about whatever you are introducing, which is what my kids had covered in his webinar in week 2. And then going on to our formative assessments. So these assessments are those that are ongoing. So they are taking place, during your instruction, during the lesson. So for example, from again, in week 2, where my Gitsa was showing us just how to make use of our question banks, to browse through questions. And maybe as you're delivering your lesson, projecting a question that you'd want your learners to try out. Also making use of our textbooks where there are interactive exercises. So there, as you are going through and teaching your content, you're able to direct your learners to try some of the questions that are in the textbook. And then our last one is our summative assessments. So these ones are really so that teachers can, make sure and that they can determine what their students have learned. So in terms of our summative ones, an example that I will be chatting about in more detail today is our summary assessments. So these also appear on our grade mastery tracking sheets. So after a chapter of work has been done and has been practiced, learners are then able to go and enter the code for the summary assessment, and they're able to complete that on Siyavula. So we'll look at that in more detail a bit later on. Before I carry on, I just want to stop and maybe check if there are any questions about anything. If there have been any questions.
There is
Even
no
in the
hand yet,
chat.
Mbali.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thanks so much, my Gitsa. So now we're just going to go through a live demo on how you can create an assessment. I know that at this time of the year, a lot of our clients have already been onboarded and they have been using Siyavula for quite a while. So some of you have already started, making use of our assignment feature to create assessments. For those of you who have started, that's great. But for some of you who have been using the campaign to get yourself started and really start engaging on the platform, then we're just going to go through how you can create an assessment on Siyavula. So I have logged into my teacher account. So I've gone to siyavula.com and I've logged into my teacher account. I'm now on my teacher dashboard. So on my teacher dashboard, I now want to create an assessment for my learners. So to do that, I am going to click on Set Work. So underneath Set Work, we will use the assignment feature to now create an assessment for our class. So I'm going to select assignments. So once I've selected that, I'm now going to end up on the page where I can start creating my assignment. All right, so I am going to select my subject, mathematics. For teachers who have mathematics and physical science, you will be able to choose the subject. So the important thing is just to choose the subject that you would want. So at the top, the first thing we are going to see is our recipients list. So with our Explorer clients, you will be seeing the grade classes, which look like this. So it'll say grade 8 mathematics or grade 12 mathematics or grade 10 physical science. So for schools who are on a premium plan, you will see your individual classes as well as the grade classes. So for me, I can see my individual class, which is my test maths class, and then I can also see the grade classes in my school. Okay, I am now going to select the class that I would like to send my assignment to. So I'll just select my test maths class. Now I have to set the title for my assignment. Here, please try and set an assignment title that includes maybe the topic that you of the content you're going to put into your assignment. So just please don't leave it as maths assignment as generic as that, especially if you're someone who really likes to make use of the assignment feature to create assessments. So we'll use, I'll just say Teach2Reach maths assignment. So try and make it as specific as possible. This is so that when you are going to be accessing your report, you can find your assignment quite easily. So now this is the exciting part. This is where we are able to add the content into our assignment. So with mathematics, you'll see content all the way from grade 8 to grade 12. If you had selected physical science, you will see content from grade 10 to grade 12. The great thing about our assignment feature is that even if your class is, for example, a grade 10 class, but as a teacher, you maybe want to challenge your learners a little bit, you are able to select content from a higher grade. If you want them to revise something, for example, you're also able to add content from a lower grade. So you are able to add content across grades when you are using our assignment feature. So I'm just going to select grade 10. Maybe, I don't know if there is a maths teacher perhaps who teaches grade 10. Could you maybe let me know what you are teaching at the moment? Or anyone could speculate or just maybe choose a topic that they like anyway. No?
I think that yes.
Okay, I heard someone.
Euclidean geometry.
Okay.
Can you say that again?
Euclidean
Euclidean
geometry.
geometry.
Euclidean geometry. All right. So we've gotten a topic. So now you are creating your assessment for your learners because you have maybe taught Euclidean geometry and you've taught triangles. So now you want to create an assessment. So you've taught the topic, you've asked them to practice and consolidate the content that you taught. Now you want to assess, you want to determine what your learners know. Now we've selected our topic, our chapter. Now we are selecting our topic, which is triangles. And then underneath the topic, you can then start selecting questions. So we are aware that some of our topics are content sparse. We are working on that. So at the moment, we only have a couple of questions to choose from here. So you can view the question by clicking on it. So you can view the type of question it is. And then also what's quite helpful for teachers is just to know the difficulty level of the question. So every question has a tag to know if the question is basic, easy, medium, or hard. And then you're also able to see, excuse me, which curriculum it is relevant to as well. So here we can see it's relevant to BBE as well as IED. So you can view the question if you're happy with it, or if you just want to try it out for yourself, you can do the question yourself. And then you can also view different versions of the question. So when your learners, when you've now sent your assignment and your learners are attempting the question, they will be seeing a different version of the question. So it might not be the exact one that you are viewing when you are in your question bank. So if you're happy with this type of question, then you can just click on the checkbox to add it into your assignment. So we are going to add all the questions underneath this section. So now we've selected our questions and we have seen the different versions and we are happy to add them into our assignment. And now if we're ready and we want to send the assignment, we can then click on schedule. If you are someone who is a really good planner and you know that in this week we'll be working on this particular thing, you can schedule your assignments. So you can add a start date. So if you know that by next week you would have done your section, you can then add, maybe next week Friday's date as a start date for your learners to do the assessment that you've created for them. So we'll just select a start date and then you can also add a due date in as well. So if you want it to be done by the Monday, for example. So then that's how you are able to schedule your assignment for your learners. If you are happy with that, then you can click on send at scheduled time. But let's say, for example, teachers are always busy and you guys have a lot of things in your hands. So you've taught your lesson, you've asked them to practice, and you quickly want to create something for them. You've selected your questions. You can just send it immediately if you want to. So you will click on send now. But if you are maybe thinking, you've taught this, learners have practiced, but you're looking at the reports and you're seeing that, okay, maybe they need some more time. And you don't want to send it now and you don't want to schedule it because you're not sure how much time you'll need just to, reinforce the content that you have taught. You can save it as a draft. So for now, we will save it as a draft. What this will do is it will redirect you to your assignments page. So we've saved this assignment as a draft. And when you are on your assignments page, you'll now see your assignment sitting there as a draft. So we can see our assignment title, Teach2Reach Maths Assignment. If you want to come back and work on it, you'll just click on it again. What that will do is it will open up the assignment and then you're able to edit it. So you can edit the class, you can edit the title, you can also edit the content that you had added into the assignment. One thing I have to mention about assignments, and this is something that we receive a lot of questions about, is once you have sent an assignment, you are not able to edit it thereafter. So you are not able to open it up in exactly the way that we have done right now and edit the questions. Once it has been sent, you can't edit the due date, you can't edit the start dates or anything like that. So please be aware of that when you are creating your assessments. Once you have sent it, it is sent, it is done. Okay. I see a hand up. Mr. Nare.
Yes, ma'am. On the editing of the assignment, can you at least edit the title? Because I heard you said we have to be specific, and I understand that it's very useful. But once maybe let's say you just sent it without editing the title, can you go back and maybe just edit the title?
So even on that one, you're not able to edit anything at this point, Mr. Nare, unfortunately. So
Okay.
you have to make sure that once you've selected, your recipients and the next step is editing the title, please try and not skip over that. Because once it's sent, it is sent. I saw another hand, Gerard.
Hi, good afternoon. That's actually one
Good
of the
afternoon.
as the previous speaker actually mentioned as well. It is we are, and sometimes we do make a mistake with the spelling error or the assignment. Is it something that Siyavula can actually have a look into in order for, if there's a mistake, you can actually edit it and then send it out? Because once you click send, because you want to rush through, quickly assess the kids' work before the lesson ends, people mistakes.
Yeah. No, I agree definitely. Teachers, we do understand that teachers do make mistakes. And I think maybe Nomfundo can jump in here and respond to you, Gerard, as well as Mr. Nare. It is something that has been raised, and it is something that we are looking at.
Yeah.
I know the team is doing some work on adding some features into our assignment setting. So that's work that is being done, and we're hoping to try and release that as soon as we can.
Yeah,
I don't know if
just
Nomfundo is with us. Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Like you were just indicating, we're working on what we are calling assignments version 2, which is basically some updates that have been requested by teachers on the assignments feature, and being able to make changes is part of the spec for that development. However, I can't promise right now on the timing for it, but it has been something that has been mentioned a couple of times, and our dev team is working on it. We'll just, every time there's inputs like this coming in, we highlight it so that it can be like prioritized on our dev team. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Nomfundo. Okay, so
there has been another hand, Mbali, I think.
Okay.
Yes, raised my hand.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that you got it is limited with the amount of questions and the variation of questions and all of that. When are we going to expect an update of adding more questions to the question bank? Thank you.
So yeah, sure, you can go ahead, Nomfundo.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say the adding of questions, or what we internally call templates, into the question bank, is a task that is happening like every day by our EdTech team. It's just that it might not be at what you are looking at. The focus had been into improving or developing in from the grade 8 level, as we're improving content there. But we are always welcoming inputs where teachers are indicating that there is a particular section in the content that has a gap that looks as such. And then we take it to our EdTech team for them to make the list of priorities and what are the teachers' needs. So I would request that if there is a particular section that you are really in need of, you can just maybe email the customer service lead that supports you to say, I'm flagging on this, we would like such questions. And we, even when we are developing content, we do every now and again like consult teachers. Yeah, so but at the moment the EdTech team have just been working on improving the grade 8's content, and some of the teachers who are really working, they do see some developments every now and again with new templates coming through.
Thanks. Thanks, Nomfundo. I don't know if you are happy with that, Gerard.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. I'm sure it was also on the minds of other teachers as well. So thank you for that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our live demo. Actually, no, that doesn't. So I just wanted to then just show you once you've sent an assignment or if you've scheduled it, you are also able to find it on this specific page. So you'll find it under category underneath scheduled assignments or your sent assignments as well. Something that I have recommended or just suggested to teachers, once you have sent an assignment and maybe you realize later on that you did make a mistake, something that you can do is you can reuse the assignment. But when you do reuse the assignment, it creates a brand new one. So the last one that you had still remains, and learners are still able to see it in the class that you had sent it to. But, if you would like, to correct a mistake in an assignment you have sent, you can reuse it. Once you click on reuse, then it will say create new assignment. So now you can start from scratch essentially. You can choose your recipients, edit the assignment title, as well as edit the content as well. But remember, it is a brand new assignment, so you would have to let your learners know to rather complete this specific assignment title and disregard the previous one. Okay, now this brings us to the end of our live demo on just how you can create an assessment. So now I just want to tell you about some of the pre-created assessments that are available on Siyavula. So for learners, we have a couple of those on the platform. So we have our baseline assessments. We have our learners self-evaluation as well as our summary assessments. I'll show you in a second where you can find these particular assessments. With our baseline assessments, we started the year off with a lot of our schools completing these baseline assessments. So that is something that is available to our clients, at the beginning of the year if they would like to make use of the assessments that we have. And then our learner self-evaluation. So learners are able to complete this as well for themselves. I'll show you in a second what that looks like if none of you know it. And then we also have our summary assessments. So these were sort of alluded to last week when Lungelo had introduced the grade mastery tracking sheets. So on that sheet, there's also underneath the topic, the topics, you'll see it will say summary assessment, and there's also an associated code there. So our summary assessments, the structure is aligned, with the standard breakdown from CAPS. There are about 20 to 25 questions. And these are broken down, 20% knowledge, 35% routine procedures, 30% complex procedures, and 15% problem solving. So we've tried to create those assessments just to make sure that they are in alignment with CAPS. I'm now just going to show you where you can find these. So still logged into my teacher account. Again, I'm going to go to support and then I'll click on help center. So this is going to open up our help center. To find those, you scroll down to pre-created assessments. So here you can find information about our baseline assessments, as well as you can find information about our summary assessments. You can also view, the questions that are available in the summary assessments in PDF format. You can also get the mastery tracking sheets as well. You can download them and get those printed out for your learners. Maybe I just want to stop here and ask if there are any questions just about the pre-created assessments for learners before I show where learners can find the self-evaluation.
I think Mr. Christopher has his mic unmuted, Mbali.
Okay. Mr. Muvirimi?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Do you have a question?
I think it's unmuted by mistake.
Oh, okay. All right. That's
Sorry,
not a
sorry for
problem.
that. Okay, sorry for that.
That's okay. Ma'am Chakara?
Yeah, hello, ma'am. I think I missed the point where you were explaining where to get the
The
baseline.
summary assessment.
Yes.
Okay.
It's last part.
So, okay. So when you are logged into your account, you go to support on your navigation panel, and then you'll click on Help Center. Once you are in our Help Center, you will scroll to pre-created assessments. So under pre-created assessments, you can find information about our baseline assessments as well as our summary assessments.
Thank you, ma'am.
You are welcome. All right. So I'm just going to log out of my teacher account and then access a learner account just to show the learner self-evaluation. So a learner is able to complete the self-evaluation. They will just click on practice, select learner self-evaluation, of course, and then they can start completing the self-evaluation. So here you are able to see that we do have a self-evaluation for mathematics and physical science. So as you can see, it is broken down into content areas. So they can just click on try now to start the self-evaluation. Learners can really use this to see how they are performing in any of the content areas that they have been taught already. And it really is just a tool for themselves to see how they're doing in any of the work that they've been taught in class. I don't know, Maiketsa, if you want to add here. Sorry for picking on you.
No, it's fine, Bali. I think you have explained nicely.
Okay. And then in terms of our pre-created assessments on Siyavula for teachers, if you do not already know, you do have a diagnostic self-evaluation that is available for you. So I'll just log out again, maybe just log into my own account. So on this diagnostic self-evaluation, to access it, you would go to where it says teacher development, and then you can click on diagnostic self-evaluation. What's awesome about this evaluation and what is great about it for you as well, you can get 6 points from it. So if not, to find out how you are, performing on these content areas, you can just do it so that you can get the 6 points for it. So that is something that is available for you on Siyavula. Are there any questions about this here? Before I close us off for today, Nomfundo?
Mbali, it won't be, it's not a question, but I just maybe request, I'm not sure how much teachers are familiar with the summary assessments that they can make or assign to their learners. If you can maybe just open one of the PDF documents to just show teachers what that would look like on any grade.
No problem. Okay, so I have now opened up the grade mastery tracking sheet for grade 10. So I did hear that we are busy with Euclidean geometry, part 1. Okay, so now if you would like your learners to complete the summary assessment for this chapter of work, you can look at the grade mastery tracking sheet, and then you can get the code for the for the summary assessment. So if we have a look here, it says G10-A-7. So this is, so if you have printed out the mastery tracking sheets for your learners, they can find the code there. But if you have not yet printed them out for your learners, you can just find the code for the summary assessment, and then we can give it to your learners. How your learners access the summary assessment. So I'm just going to log out and log into my learner account. So how they will access the summary assessment, they'll just log into their account. And then once they've received the code for the summary assessment that they need to complete from you as their teacher, they can just type it into this box that says jump to content. So we're going to type in our code. So it said G10-A-7. So we are going to click on go. Once I click on go, it's going to open up the assignment, the summary assessment for me. So now I can start completing this specific summary assessment. Where you will find the report for this, we'll cover next week. But you are able to get a report for these summary assessments as a teacher. Thank you for just that reminder, Nomfundo. Are there any questions about our summary assessments? Or any inputs from the team before I move on? All right. Okay, so I have asked if there are any questions, maybe last chance, going once, going twice. Okay, yes, Sarah? Yes.
Hi. You mentioned earlier that when you set an assignment, you can reuse it. Regarding this week's competition that's available for the teachers of assigning assignments, is that also being taken into consideration? So every time if I reassign or reuse assignment for the week's work, I can basically get points to that system as well.
So you're saying if you've sent an assignment and then you reuse that assignment, does that count towards your chances of like getting a prize for this week? If I'm understanding you correctly.
That's correct. So that's the one part of it. The second part of it is I teach 2 classes. So mornings when I set my work for the day, I basically set it once, enable both classes, and that then I send it. Is it going to mean that it's one assignment sent, or is it meaning there's 2 assignments sent?
So it's maybe let me start with the last part. So if you are sending an assignment to more than one class, that would just count as one assignment because it's just that one assignment that is being sent. Okay. And then the first part of your question about reusing that assignment and if that counts towards. So something that we are going to be considering just outside of sending an assignment is if teachers are actually tracking if learners are completing the assignment. So this is sort of partly something that we'll be looking at next week, which is aligned with checking of reports and so on. But we are not incentivizing just the task of opening, creating an assignment and sending it. What we want is that you must be sending an assignment and your learners should be completing it as well. So it's not just the fact that you've sent 20 assignments, but if 0 of those assignments were attempted by your learners, then we know that it really is just you're trying to game the system. I hope that answers you.
No, it does. It's not, like I said, it's not just to incentivize or it's looking into the whole thing of winning something. My assignments for the day in the morning, so I end up setting it for 2 classes on a weekly basis. Over the course of the weekend, I would send it for all 8 campuses. Sorry, not both campuses, all 8 classes. So that the reason why I'm asking it is that the tick boxes that you basically have, is it counting every single time new assignment, one assignment is created for all 3 classes, or is it calculating it according to click, or class, and then checking the learner profile or the learner reports and seeing what the averages are for the set assignment?
So so as I mentioned, if you're sending one assignment to 8 classes, it would then just count it as you've sent one assignment. So it does not count that you've sent it to 8 different classes. I could be wrong. I think you just have to confirm.
Indeed, Mbali, but I don't think there is really a problem. We are not expecting you teachers to now send the same assignment multiple times, knowing you are sending it to different classes. But obviously, when the assignment is being reused, it looks completely as now it's a new assignment. And we believe that when you are reusing an assignment where maybe questions have not changed, you are reusing it because you are sending it to a different group of learners. I think all in all, what we are trying to encourage is, like a meaningful and impactful usage of the system. And I think you are on track, Gerard. You're doing the right thing. It is helping you meet whatever goals that you want to achieve. I think just on the point of these summary assessments that are already pre-created, I think just one point is that it's a fully created assignment that you can't change questions around it because it's just learners completing an assignment that is already made. So it can be great that teachers also just have a look at the assignments, but generally those summary assessments can be helpful when there is a section for your learners that like your learners are struggling with, and you just want to assess where they are. Are they ready for this section in preparation for the coming exam? I think teachers can really benefit from using that, and it's not taking any time of preparing it because it's ready made for them. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Nomfundo. Any other questions? Okay. So just in conclusion, we have come to the end of our session for this week. So our incentivized activity for this week is creating an assessment for your class or your classes. And then not just creating the assessment, but viewing the assignment report to track if your learners are actually completing the assessment or assessments that you have set for them. And then our prizes or our winners will be announced tomorrow. On Friday in our WhatsApp group. And then you can share any feedback directly with your customer success lead, the one that's supporting your school. We are just having a bit of a challenge with our WhatsApp line. So if you do have any feedback, we would love to hear it. please do share that feedback with your customer success lead directly. And then our theme for next week, now that we have created assessments and we have sent them, we now want to start looking at our reports. So we will be looking at checking our reports and just what we can tell from the data that we receive from the reports. Okay, thank you very much for your time today. And we really do appreciate you joining. We love getting your questions and just hearing your thoughts on any of the stuff that we chat about in our webinars. But for today, thank you so much for your time. We are done. We will be staying on for a couple of minutes, just for anyone who does have any additional questions. They may be or may not be related to our campaign. It could just be something to do with a technical issue that you are having. Yeah, so you're welcome to stay behind if you have a question, but